I'm sitting here with MJ Preston, who has a brand new book coming out called Acadia Event on January 28th. Tell me about it.
Acadia Event's science fiction horror. You know, in the most simplistic terms of explaining Acadia Event is that it's about a guy who had a criminal past. He managed to break out of that life and he gets pulled back into it to go do a diamond heist on the world's longest ice road.
Tell me about the character who has to do the heist.
The character's name is Marty Krofft. His present life, he's a commercial artist. He's got a beautiful wife named Maggie, and between the two of them, they do very well. They're very happy. They're successful. But Marty, like I said, had a criminal past, and his criminal past comes back to haunt him in the form of a phone call.
Who's bringing him back into the business?
That guy's name is Gordon Seamus. He is the son of an Irish gangster, a deceased Irish gangster, who actually let Marty out of that life so that he could pursue a straight life. Not, when I say straight life, I mean not in the criminal element. Gordon Seamus is like a complete psycho. He's killed many people. He does it sometimes in very bad ways. And he leverages Marty to go up the ice and do this heist by threatening to hurt his wife.
So this takes us now up to Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories?
Yeah, and that's where the story kind of does its jump off. It goes from the Niagara Escarpment. When Marty gets wind that they want him to do this and they threaten his wife, he sends his wife off to Montreal where he hopes she'll be safe. And he gets on an airplane and he heads to Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. The Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories is a jump-off point for the ice roads.
There's a second story in this. Tell me about that.
Yeah, because at this point I said sci-fi horror, right? And the way I've led you so far is you think, oh, this sounds more like a crime drama than a science fiction horror. But at one of the diamond mines, and there's two on this ice road, the first one being the Acadia Diamond Mine, which is about the halfway point, and the second being the Minook Diamond Mine, and that's where the stolen diamonds are going to come from. Back at the Acadia Diamond Mine, they've found something buried in the ice. And this is where the science fiction horror element comes into play. Down there, fossils, possibly alien life form. So that's the two stories.
Along with the fossils, however, they find what are probably the purest, richest diamonds on the planet, which brings on its own set of rules.
The evil corporation, you know, they go digging around in the ice and they find these pure diamonds, and when they should be reporting about the aliens that they found, you know, the fossils, they're more interested in these pure diamonds. So they're not telling anybody about anything that's going on at this point. Meanwhile, back in Yellowknife, Marty's getting prepped to go up the ice road. And he hooks up with a veteran ice road trucker named Garney Wilson, who is just a fantastic character and based on a real person, actually, although the story is fictitious.
Or is it?
Or is it? Yeah. I'll never tell. I'll never tell.
Well, that's the basic outline for the book, and it is fast-paced, incredibly fun read. However, you ran the ice road for years. What was the inspiration for you writing this book?
Well, it was the ice roads. I mean, quite frankly. And in 2012, I went up and I just finished publishing my first book, The Equinox. And I didn't have any type of a plan really to write another book. But when I got up there and I started thinking, well, you should write at least two books, I started looking around, and I mean, across the sky, you would see just this vast, empty space of white. It was like you were on the moon. A frozen sea would be a good example. That's what it felt like when you crossed these lakes. But also, you saw so many things up there. At night, you saw the northern lights, you know, flickering across the sky like paint in so many hues, from greens to yellows to blues to reds. You have the animals that just appear out of nowhere: wolves, foxes, ravens. Boy, oh boy, I love the ravens. And I started looking around and thought, this is a really good place to tell a story like this. And I was inspired, really. I mean, I've been inspired by things that I...
Great adventure.
It was. It absolutely was. I learned a lot on the first year on that ice road, and I took a lot of pictures. But as I'm driving, and for people that have never run the ice roads, you spend a lot of time out on a frozen lake driving 25 kilometers an hour, which is approximately, I don't know, 14 miles per hour for my American friends. And it gives you a lot of time to think, talk, and yak. And you were the one that invited me out to do the ice roads, and we spent a lot of time talking back and forth about that. So as we went, filling that void of time, 16-hour, 17-hour long days, my mind was just going tick, 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 tick. Well, what about this? What about that? Diamond heist. Okay, well, you know, how are we going to do a diamond heist? Well, the diamonds are already stolen. You just got to pick them up, right? And then I thought, aliens, you know, got to have aliens, because I'm a horror writer. I have to have that element. And I formulated a lot of things in this that I'm very proud of. I had a lot of fun. This was probably the funnest book I ever wrote. Of everything I've done, it always comes down to, in the end, a grind, but Acadia event is just nonstop. From beginning to finish, it's exciting. There's scenes in it that I'm proud of. There's scenes in it that are horrific that I found myself laughing about. You know, the good example, Gordon Seamus taking out one of his henchmen with a backhoe, where he pounds the guy into a pancake.
Brutal. Yeah.
But I mean, these are the things that make you laugh. You have a lot of fun with, and you know, we would be running through things like a flood zone. I know that some people have read it and said, boy, I sure learned a lot about the ice roads, because I was a sponge out there. And, you know, every time you look around, there's one more thing. Like the lakes, when they get to a certain brittleness, they decide to flood the lakes out and put fresh water on them. So you get to see these guys, and a lot of them are Aboriginal. Some of them are Inuit. And they're out there drilling into the lake that you're driving a big truck loaded with fuel across, and they're flooding the water up onto the lake. And it just, like I said, all of a sudden, wham, there you go. Okay, now I'm going to have flooders in my story, right? And I'm going to learn about typhoon pumps and all of these things. Other things that we saw, guys spinning out, hitting snowbanks. I hit a snowbank, my first ice road. There were so many things there that you could just draw from, and it was like somebody was just putting all the stuff on my palette and say, here, use this, use this, use this. We ran into a Category 3 storm, and it was a harrowing trip. We came in on the Misery Road.
It was an exciting trip.
It was exciting. I had a lot of fun. I certainly didn't want to hit a ditch anywhere, but at the same time, I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow, and a Category 3 storm is like the top tier of storms. A Category 3 storm, when it gets to that point, you almost can't see your hand in front of your face with just the blowing snow and the whiteout. And the drifts are drifting up over your truck, and you're looking around and you're going, holy crap, these look like they're going to fall over on us as we're going.
And it's 40 below.
And it's 40 below. And that's the other interesting aspect of it, because there is an element of danger. If you break down, you're always left with another man to keep you, you know, so that you have a safe haven to go to. But if you were alone in this situation and you got lost in a storm and couldn't find your way back, and you don't have a warm place to go, you're not going to last long out there. And that plays into the story as well.
It's a very dangerous, inhospitable environment that can kill you if you're not aware of what you're up against.
That's right.
Well, with that, thank you for telling us about your new book.
You're welcome. I could go long-winded and ramble on, but what I suggest is you pick up a copy and check it out for yourself. And if you like it, hey, please leave me a review.